In the Affinity Designer and Photo group found on Facebook, Paul Starr asked, does anyone know how to shape the corners of a photo in Designer, or do you have to do it in Photo? Now, some people have answered this question, and what they've said is okay, but Paul, being a beginner, has sort of struggled a little bit in understanding, so I'm going to try and help explain how I would do it, and hopefully this will help other beginners as well. And what Paul actually wanted was the image is a rectangular with square corners, and he wanted rounded concave corners. So I'm going to look at this in both Designer and Photo. I'm going to try and show you two different ways. The first way can be done in both Designer and Photo. So this is Designer, and I've just started a new document, and I have this image here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click this layer and copy, come back to my new document, and I'm going to paste that in. Now this image is a bit too big for my background, so I'm just going to quickly resize this down and just put it there in the middle, roughly. There we go, in the middle. So if you want to change this into a shape, probably the quickest way to do this is you can either use the rectangular tool or the rounded rectangular tool. Now, as this has already got the corners already rounded, I'm going to use this shape here. Let's just come to the move tool and just put that roughly in position, and then I'm just going to resize this so it fits the image size that we want. There we go. So now I have the shape and the image on top of each other as in different layers. I now want to move this layer, background image layer, into and group with the shape layer. So I'm just going to click on it and drag it upwards until the blue line comes from the right hand edge and just to the edge of the icon for the shape, and then that means that will group into that shape. So as you can see here, we have the image in a rounded shaped shape, for want of a better phrase. So that is sort of what Paul wanted. Now you can also alter these corners, because up here you have the option to set the corner type. Now at the moment, if you've got a click down menu, at the moment they are rounded, but you can click on that and change them to straight or concave, which is what Paul was after, or you can do cutout shape. And let's go back to concave, which is what Paul was after, and next to this we have it set at 25%, and you get this slider here where you can increase or lower how much that will be concaved. So let's put that at 8%. So that, I believe, is what Paul was trying to do. So to prove that this works in Photo, this is going to be Photo. Again, I've got the rectangular shape here, but I could just as easily go with the rectangular tool. And let's just draw the shape here for a minute. Now I've got another image here, so I'll just right click this, copy, come back to this one and paste, and come to the move tool. I'll put that about there. Let's put it in the center. Right, now I'll come to my shape here, and I'll just make it the size of this image. And this time I'm going to click and drag this one down because it just happens to be on top rather than below the shape that I'm doing. But again, I'm just going to bring it down until the blue line comes to the edge of this icon. So that is now part of that shape, that group. And again, as you see, we're on the move tool. You have the corners option here. So at the moment it's set on none, but you can have rounded, and again you can set the size, have concave, and drop that down to say 8% again. So that's just how you can do the task in both Photo and Affinity. It's exactly the same. Now the second way of doing this can only really be done in Designer. You can do a certain amount of it the same in Photo, but there's a step near the end which is very important, which I've yet to be able to work out whether you can do in Photo. So let me delete this one here, and we will sort of repeat the process. So I will copy this and paste this in, resize this, and it is pretty much the same process, but let me just draw out this square shape, and get that to fit, and like before I'm going to click and drag this into the group, and next I'm going to where is it? Come to the move tool. No, I've lost it. Where is it? I've lost it. Oh, I need to actually highlight the layer. That's where I was going wrong. On the move tool, and then I'm going to convert to curves, and from there I can select the node tool, and as you can see we get the 4 nodes on each corner, but what we want here is the corner tool. Now this is the one that I can't find in Affinity Photo, but if you select the corner tool, and up here you can see the different same corner shapes, concave, straight, curved, whatever. So what you need to do is select one of these nodes, and these options will now no longer be grayed out. So let's go with the concave, and as I bring the cursor nearer to the corner, there'll be a little black line just turn up behind the cursor, which about now, it's just there now. So if I now click and drag this inwards, this will drag the concaved area. As you can see up here, it tells you the radius, but you could also just alter this yourself, but you have to actually have dragged out an area that you want. So you could then click another one and pick a different shape, say rounded, and have that one going that way. Click a different node and have this one going straight, and then pick the last node and have it doing the cutout. So using the corner tool, after converting it to curves, you can alter the corners accordingly, or you could just stick to using the options you get with the various shapes, with this option up here. Now the difference here is when this option of the corners you only really get with either the rectangle or the rounded corner. And let's say for example you wanted a triangle. Let's draw that triangle like that, and I'll hide this one. Let's do better than that. Let's delete that one. Right, let's come to the move tool, just bring this in the center. So as you can see here, unlike when we had the rectangles, you don't have the options to alter the corners. So if I should still have this picture in memory, yes I have. Right, so let me just resize this down, and then I will put this inside the triangle, and again I'll just continue to resize this so it doesn't really matter. The image isn't important, it's the fact that it's inside the triangle. So coming back to the main layer, I can convert this to curves and come to the corner tool and select a node, and then I can select concave for example, and I can alter the nodes accordingly. I have that one rounded and have that one rounded as well. So if you want to alter the corners on shapes other than the square and the rounded rectangular shape, you will need to sort of use this second option of converting it to curves and using the corner tool, which I can't find in Affinity Photo. But if you just want to use the squares or rectangles, you can use the corner option that comes up at the top there. Hopefully I've explained this well enough for Paul to understand and other beginners, and thank you for watching and goodbye.